Hi guys, this is Toby and welcome to my Devlog. Embark on an exciting journey behind the scenes as we delve into the creation of, well, I am not even sure what this project is going to be called. Let's just stick to the working title, Battle Monsters. Battle Monsters, an immersive adventure brought to life through the magic of GameMaker. Join me as we peel back the curtain on the development process, offering you a glimpse into the creative decisions, technical challenges, and triumphs that shaped this game from concept to completion. Through this Devlog series, I invite you to become a part of my community, sharing victories, learning from setbacks, and ultimately witnessing the evolution of from a spark of inspiration to a fully realized gaming experience. So buckle up and prepare to embark on this thrilling ride with me. Together, let's craft something extraordinary. Getting started on this project wasn't easy. Scratch that. It was the epitome of procrastination. Ever since I was a child, I had the dream to create my own game. Pokemon, Minecraft, Stardew Valley are just some of the games I enjoyed over my 20 plus years of gaming. Life happened, as it does. Dreams took a backseat to responsibilities, and suddenly, at 32 years old, my childhood ambition seemed a distant star. Until I stumbled upon Devlogs. It was a revelation. Game development, once a daunting frontier, now seemed within reach. Unity, Unreal Engine, Godot, GameMaker, the tools were there, waiting for me to wield them. I chose GameMaker for my journey. Originally drawn to its visual editor, I soon found myself immersed in GML code. I would like to create a pixel art top-down role-playing game that is a mixture of Stardew Valley, Pokemon, and Payday 2. Yes, the bank-robbing Payday 2. And so, with a lot of excitement, I got started on downloading GameMaker and getting to work. Here's my first week of game development, condensed and shared for you to follow along, perhaps even to spark your own adventure. I am planning on releasing a video once in a while, highlighting the programmed mechanics in more detail. Your comment, like, or subscription really helps me along in this, and of course it's free. So thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of the show. Day 1 marked the beginning of my journey into game development. Following a tutorial series by Slither, I swiftly acquainted myself with GML. By the day's end, I successfully implemented 8-directional movement for my character. Inspired by mechanics from games like Pokemon and Palworld, I set out to incorporate projectile throwing into my game. To achieve this, I developed an aiming system controlled by clicking the right mouse button. The aiming cone dynamically shrinks as you hold the button, enhancing accuracy over time. Day 2 proved to be a challenging endeavor as I ventured into the realm of asset hunting. Initially, I underestimated the task, envisioning a straightforward purchase of ready-made assets online. However, reality quickly set in. Hours spent tinkering in GIMP and Sprite yielded little success, and my hopes were dashed upon discovering that the scarcity of affordable Battle Monster tile sheets was there. Despite extensive online research, suitable assets remained elusive. Ultimately, I made the decision to invest €35 into the Sunnyside World Asset Pack by Daniel Diggle. While the pack contained only 2 enemy sprites, it provided a comprehensive suite of customizable character models and a bunch of animations setting the stage for further development. As a lot of stuff has changed in the game since the first couple of days, I can't show you everything I did back then. What I can show you is the debug mode that is still in there. So whenever I press a certain button, you can see certain parameters for the enemies, and you can see certain points for the enemies. So you can see the red point is where the enemy is currently walking towards. You can see this blue light circle. That blue circle is basically the spawn point for the enemy, and the enemy has a certain range which is indicated in this yellow box, which he can choose a new walking point from. So basically each enemy has different states. State number 2 is the wander state. State number 1 is the idle state. Whenever the enemy is in the state 1, idle, he pans his camera from left to right, trying to locate the player. And this is also indicated in the overworld, which is a little bit hard to see on this yellow background, but you can see the vision cone of the enemy. So by doing this, I'm trying to have some kind of 3D perception in this top-down 2D world, which is basically just two-directional. Enemies can look from left or to the right side. They can't look up, they can't look down. So what happens is the enemy chooses the states all the time, and if the player gets too close to the enemy within a certain hearing range, or if the enemy steps into this yellow vision cone, the enemy will enter the attentive state. And this will be shown via a question mark on top of the enemy's heads. And you can see that this vision cone also turns from white into a more reddish color. That means that the enemy is an aggressive type. So if I stay in there too long, you can see the attentive counter goes up to 100%. It will go up faster if I am closer to the enemy. And once it reaches 100%, the enemy will enter a new state, which is state number 5, and it will charge me. And now there's two things that can happen. Either the enemy reaches me, which will trigger the attack state, which is state number 6, and I have not programmed that yet, so nothing will happen there. Or the enemy will lose vision of me, basically. So if I'm in here too long, you can see the enemy reaches the charge state, and now if I run out of this yellow circle, which is not that easy, at some point the enemy will start losing me, and then he will go to my last known location, which is shown in this with this little ghost of me, basically. And once he reaches that state, he will pan the camera left to right again, which will be state 9. So he's looking for me now, and then he will look for me in 3 different spots. So this is the last known location marked in pink or purple, I mean, and he will choose different points in red and look around there, and if he can't find me within 3 tries, he will go back to his original starting place. And as you can imagine, this took me quite some time to implement, and especially with solids it was really hard to implement, because of course the enemy should only see me if I'm not behind any sort of solid. And as you can see, if I go inside the building, this green line turns red where there's solids, where there's walls, and he can't see me in the building if I'm hiding in that. So that's also something I implemented, and I did that by having a grid that is being created as the game spawns. So basically all the solids that we have, maybe I can show that to you by going into the code. Once the game is launched, certain stuff is happening, so certain grids are being created, and there's one grid which is the solid grid, which I'm not finding right now, but it's there. And basically in the main game I have this solid layer that marks the solid spots, and all of these solid spots are then converted into this grid. And this means that there's no objects in there once the game is running. There's no solid objects or anything like that, but it's all checking against the grid. And the pathfinding also takes into consideration this solid grid. After days of diving deep into monster mechanics, I needed a breather. So I shifted gears to work on the world building side of things. And it turns out creating houses from scratch is a whole different ballgame. I thought I could just slap together some tiles and call it a house. And boy was I wrong. It turns out adding second floors or basements wasn't as simple as I thought, so I had to get a bit creative. I went on a wild online hunt for solutions, but sadly I came up empty-handed. But hey, where there's a will, there's a way. So drawing from my past experience with grids, which I gained while working on the AI system, I developed a wild idea. A system with layers, like an onion, but less tear-inducing. I envisioned a world with up to 10 floors above and below ground. It was ambitious, but hey, go big or go home, right? Developing the system was a nightmare, with hundreds of layers, over 30 grids being calculated, and over 2,000 lines of code involved in making it work. But I am super happy with the outcome. As this is the first major update for my game, I will dedicate the next video to the system, explaining it in more detail. This also concludes my first week of game development as a beginner. I hope you have enjoyed watching, and I would love some feedback from you. Feel free to subscribe and stick along so you won't miss anything.
What a lovely day to play a lovely game. A game of monsters and very small pixelated men. Let's go grab them all